In the sacred city where the transcendent meets the earthly, an extraordinary event has captured global attention, transcending political or military matters. A visual discovery spread across digital platforms, stirring emotion among believers, scholars, and even skeptics. Captured by pilgrims during an exploration near the Eastern Gate, the image reveals something that defies all conventional logic. The divine name, Yahweh, clearly manifested through the naturally worn markings on the ancient fortification of the Holy Mount. Without artificial intervention, excavations, or renovations, the ancestral stones display what many recognize as the divine Tetragrammaton, the four primordial Hebrew letters, Yod, He, Vav, He, arranged in an inexplicable manner. Most striking is that this manifestation appears precisely above the Golden Gate, also known as the Gate of Compassion, the specific location that, according to ancient prophecies, will be traversed by the Messiah during his majestic return. This entrance has remained sealed for centuries, blocked by tombs and cemented shut by decrees of ancient rulers, precisely to try to prevent the fulfillment of the messianic promise. Yet now, above this sealed passage, something emerges that many interpret as a direct message from the heavens. The audio-visual records spread rapidly, accumulating millions of views and triggering waves of reactions. Scientists seek explanations through natural theories, citing time erosion, geological phenomena, and even pareidolia, the human brain's tendency to identify familiar shapes in random images. However, among theologians and scholars of Scripture, a deep and unsettling perception began to form. What if it isn't a coincidence? What if, as Christ declared in Luke 19:40, the stones cry out when men remain silent? The specific placement of the inscription only intensifies the mystery. The Eastern Gate may be the most spiritually symbolic location in all of Jerusalem's territory. It is not merely a historic entrance. It symbolizes the hope of restoration, the assurance of celestial return, the reconnection of the divine with the human. The appearance of this phenomenon right there during a time of growing spiritual unrest, regional conflicts, global crises, and a decline in faith prompts urgent reflection. Could this be a silent plea from the Most High, a sacred reminder amid contemporary turbulence, as if the Creator himself were declaring, "I am still among you"? To understand the spiritual magnitude of this event, one must grasp the sacred value of the place where the name emerged. This is not just any point in the ancient metropolis. It is the Temple Mount, the elevation where heavenly promises were sealed and where so many prophecies converge. There, Solomon built the first sanctuary. There, the Ark of the Covenant resided, and there the divine presence filled the Holy of Holies. In 1 Kings 9:3, the Lord declares, "I have consecrated this temple. I have put my name there forever." And it is precisely there, where the Most High affirmed he would dwell perpetually, that now his name reappears on the rocks. Not on an ancient scroll, not in a hidden archaeological dig, but in plain sight, on one of the most guarded and photographed walls on the planet. The Temple Mount does not belong exclusively to the Jewish tradition. For Christians, it was the setting for many of Jesus' teachings, the stage for his miracles, the place where he wept for Jerusalem and spoke of the end times. And for Muslims, it is the place from which Muhammad is believed to have ascended to the heavens. It is a converging point between three major religions laden with faith, history, and spiritual tension. But what makes this appearance even more significant is not only its location or the moment in which it occurs. It is what it represents prophetically. The Temple Mount is a true spiritual timepiece. It is as if every event that happens there marks a new moment in God's divine plan for humanity. And the emergence of the name Yahweh in this setting is not merely an archaeological curiosity. It is a possible silent advancement in the great celestial timepiece. The eastern side of the city, where this inscription is located, has always carried profound symbolic weight. It is the direction from which the sun rises, where hope is renewed. And it is also where, according to Ezekiel 43, the divine glory will return to the temple. It is no coincidence that the name of the Most High appears there, upon millennia-old stones that have already witnessed wars, prayers, rebuilding, and promises. These stones do not carry only the dust of centuries. They carry expectation, faith, and destiny. And now, like a celestial seal, they once again bear the name of the one who has always declared his presence in that place. Yahweh, the Eternal One. The Invisible One who reveals himself by means that no scientist can explain and no historian can predict. And this name, mysteriously engraved, may be just the beginning of something greater. Because there is an even more astonishing detail that could change everything. The enigmatic inscription appeared exactly above a gateway sealed nearly half a millennium ago. A gate that, according to ancient prophecies, will be the path through which the Messiah will return in triumph. We are talking about the Golden Gate, also known as the Gate of Compassion, the oldest of the 8 gates that still mark the wall of Old Jerusalem. And now, at this place saturated with symbolism and expectation, the name Yahweh appears engraved like a divine seal, breaking the silence of the stone. This detail, seemingly just geographic, carries prophetic weight of incalculable proportions. The Golden Gate is not just a forgotten entrance. It is the only gate in the city that faces directly east, in alignment with the Mount of Olives, the place from which, according to Zechariah and Ezekiel, divine glory will emerge in the end times. Scripture lays out a clear path. Glory will come from the east and pass through this gate toward the restored temple. This is exactly what the prophet Ezekiel saw clearly in his vision recorded in chapter 43, when he witnessed the heavenly majesty passing through this very entrance. And it is precisely there, above those sealed stones, that the eternal name now reappears, as if heaven were reaffirming that the divine plan was never forgotten. But why is this gate sealed? In 1541, the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent ordered it to be blocked with massive stone slabs. The reason? Fear of the messianic prophecy. As an extra measure, he had a Muslim cemetery built in front of the entrance, believing that a Jewish priest, as the Messiah would be, could not pass through it without becoming ritually unclean. A human plan to frustrate a heavenly one. But what natural eyes see as an obstacle, heaven sees as a stage. For nearly 500 years, the gate has remained still, sealed, watching history unfold from a strategic position. It has seen empires fall, wars erupt, generations pass, and yet it remains there, waiting for the fulfillment of a promise that never expired. Now, with the emergence of the divine name on the stones just above it, everything changes. This is no longer merely an archaeological monument. It has become a prophetic marker. It is as if the Eternal were reaffirming, "I have not forgotten. The path is marked. The promise still stands." This is not just a name on a wall, but a sacred seal placed upon the exact point where eternity will once again touch time. And that sealed gate holds more than stones. It holds the living memory of a triumphal entrance. According to the Gospels, it was by this very path, coming from the Mount of Olives, that Jesus entered Jerusalem riding a donkey, being acclaimed by the crowd with palm branches and shouts of "Hosanna to the Son of David." At that time, he came in humility. But the sacred texts point to a glorious return when he will come as King of Kings and pass once again through that gate, not as a servant, but as Lord. The wall still stands, sealed and silent, but before it hovers an invisible expectation. Like a silent sentinel, the Golden Gate watches over time, awaiting the fulfillment of its destiny. And it is in this context that the name Yahweh appears, as a sign that rips through the veil of normality and draws the world's eyes to a specific point on the spiritual map. The prophet Ezekiel described the scene with precision. The glory of the Lord entered the temple through the gate facing east. Ezekiel 43:4. This detail cannot be ignored. The stones may be still, but the heavens are in motion. The prophecy has not been forgotten, only matured by time. And the question that echoes among scholars, believers, and watchful observers is, what does it mean for the divine name to now be visible exactly above the messianic gateway? Could this be the announcement that the gate is about to be opened, not by human excavators, but by the very authority of heaven? Yahweh did not appear just anywhere, but upon the threshold of the promise, like someone signing an ancient contract that is about to be fulfilled. This name is not ordinary. It is the same name revealed to Moses before the burning bush in the wilderness of Sinai. In Exodus 3:14, when Moses asks what God's name is, he replies, "I am who I am." And he adds, "This is what you are to say to the Israelites, I am has sent me to you." This I am is Yahweh, a name that not only identifies, but reveals the very essence of existence. He was not created, he is. He is not bound by time, he sustains time. This name does not represent a title, but an eternal reality, a name that appears more than 6,800 times in the original Old Testament, but that was treated with extreme reverence by the scribes, who would wash their hands before writing it, and who preferred to verbally substitute it with Adonai out of profound fear before the sacred name. But there is a profoundly moving detail about this name that now mysteriously reappears on the stones of the wall. Ancient Jewish rabbis taught that the sequence of the letters Yod, He, Vav, He, which form the name Yahweh, phonically resembles the sound of human breathing, as if, from our very first breath to our last, the divine name is unconsciously pronounced by every human being. As we inhale and exhale, unknowingly we proclaim Yahweh, Yahweh. With every breath, with every heartbeat of life, creation whispers the name of the Creator. And now that same name is there, visible, sealed above the gate that awaits the return of the King. A gate that humanity has tried to seal, silence, and hide, but that the Most High appears to have chosen to mark with his eternal signature. If this is indeed what it seems to be, then we are facing something that can no longer be ignored. We are witnessing a silent warning, a prophetic seal, a call that comes from the stones and from the heavens. And the story is not over yet. More signs are yet to be revealed. Yahweh. It is as if the Creator had signed existence itself with that name, etched into the invisible rhythm of life. The same name that echoed on the ancient wall now vibrates in the chest of everyone who breathes. And it does not emerge from scrolls or ancient manuscripts, but is carved into the very stone, weathered by time, embedded in the most prophetically charged place in all of Jerusalem. Right now, at this precise point in history, this apparition emerges. For some, it is nothing but erosion. For others, a coincidence. But for those who understand the spiritual dimension behind the sacred name, the perception is different. It is as if the Most High himself were announcing that he has never ceased to be present, never been forgotten, and that in silence he is drawing near once again. This manifestation is not isolated. It fits into a sequence of events foretold thousands of years ago. In Luke 19:40, Jesus warned with a phrase that now echoes more powerfully than ever. If they keep quiet, the stones will cry out. During his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, the Pharisees demanded silence, but he responded with prophecy. 2,000 years have passed, and now are the stones indeed crying out? This idea does not sound far-fetched when we remember that the Creator has always used creation itself as an instrument of communication. The scriptures are filled with examples. Stars announcing births, wind revealing presence, fire consuming sacrifices, water parting seas, and even stones becoming witnesses. Now, with the name Yahweh appearing on a sealed gate in a sacred city at a moment of global unrest, everything seems to align. The geography, the timing, the symbol, a marked stone exactly where the world faces religious tension, wars, and moral collapse. In a time when faith grows cold, values fade, and the divine name is ignored, the sacred name reappears, silent, serene, like a whisper before the trumpet's sound. It does not come with thunder. It does not shine. It does not threaten. It simply is, present, as if to say, I am still here. And many prophecy scholars already acknowledge that the signs of the times are multiplying, visible and invisible, physical and spiritual. The biblical prophecies were clear. The last days would be marked by signs in the heavens, on earth, and especially in Jerusalem, the city where the Most High chose to place his name. And now, in the face of this inscription, one question echoes. Do you still recognize me? If it is a prophetic sign, it is a warning. If it is merely coincidence, it is still an invitation to reflect. Why did this affect people so deeply? Why did it touch something so profound? Because within each of us lies something that recognizes that name. It is inscribed in our very breath. We were shaped with that name vibrating in our lungs. And when it reappears, even if carved in stone, something awakens in our spirit, even in the most slumbering hearts. Perhaps this mark is not a conclusion, but a prelude, a subtle beginning, a preparation for something greater. The gate remains sealed, but the name is there. The scriptures suggest that after this, the next move will be the return of the king. Zechariah 14:4 gives us a glimpse of what is to come. On that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, east of Jerusalem. It is an eschatological image, a glorious coming where the Lord himself will once again set foot on sacred ground. Between the Mount of Olives and the Eastern Gate, there are no obstacles, only a straight line, the path through which, according to Judeo-Christian tradition, the Messiah will return. This same direction is confirmed in Ezekiel 43, where the prophet sees the divine glory entering through the gate that faces east, the very same gate where the name Yahweh now appears. Coincidence? Or a clear reminder that the path has already been laid? In Matthew 24:27, Jesus was direct. For as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. The east has always symbolized light, renewal, and glory. And now, if that sealed gate bears the mark of the heavenly name, could we be witnessing a divine foreshadowing? In Revelation, this symbolic language becomes tangible. John wrote in 14:1, "Then I looked, and there before me was the Lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, who had his name and his Father's name written on their foreheads." Once again, the name appears, not in stone, but imprinted on the souls of the chosen. A people set apart, sealed, prepared for the reunion with the Lamb at the heart of Jerusalem. All these passages point to the same axis, the Temple Mount, the Eastern Gate, the Mount of Olives, and now, this silent inscription. Could this be the prelude to a prophetic movement? An alignment between geography, scripture, and spirituality? Perhaps, but it is undeniable that something is happening, and even if it is not the literal fulfillment of prophecy, it may be a call, a divine nudge to turn our eyes once again to the city of the great King. The appearance of the divine name on the wall cannot be seen in isolation. It seems to be a reminder, an echo of the scriptures, affirming that the story is still being written. Prophecy has not ended. It continues to unfold. The path has been set. The seal is there. Only one question remains. Are we ready to see the King pass through that gate? We do not know the day nor the hour, but the signs, they are everywhere. And one of them, perhaps the quietest, has already been carved in stone, pointing directly eastward toward Jerusalem. Let this not be treated merely as a historical curiosity. Let it become a call to faith, to hope, to covenant with the eternal. And if you wish to keep exploring these profound revelations, to dive even deeper into the mysteries of the scriptures and gain access to exclusive content before anyone else, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. See you in the next video. Stay with God.